Every now and then we get emails and phone calls from people who want us to help them out with a program. On this evening we were out at the Ceperley House, and I hope you enjoy the footage. Thanks.
Stand by, and three.
When you're looking for ghosts or thinking about ghosts, there's only one place in the city to go, the Vancouver Paranormal Society.
That is right, and we are at the beautiful Ceperley Mansion to find out more about the spirits that are in this house. Joining us now is Jan Gregory from the Vancouver Paranormal Society. Hi, how are you?
All right, nice to see you.
Okay, Jan, first question, explain what the Vancouver Paranormal Society is.
Well, first of all, we're not a society because we don't get any money for the government of the province. So.
Just
Vancouver
Vancouver Paranormal. It's our hope to try and find out if there is something going on in the world of the paranormal, ghosts, spirits. You know, you hear about the things that bumping and grinding at night and stuff like that. You know, what I've discovered in the last 10 years is that there are a lot of really strange things happening to regular people in Vancouver. I don't know what these strange things are. I don't know what's causing these things to happen. But regular people like you, are having very strange things happen.
Now, are we talking about sensations and people sometimes, you know, when you have that sensation that there's someone in the room or
All of it,
something
all
like
of
that,
it,
or
all
is
of
it incorporate everything?
Absolutely, everything. We've had people watch their sleeping cat being pushed across the top of a counter in the kitchen, and the cat didn't wake up until it was pushed on the floor. We know of a sheriff who was punched in the face as he walked into a room. This guy is over 6 foot tall. People talking about candles suddenly igniting by themselves and turning upside down inside sauces. We ourselves have seen strange smoke seem to kind of just manifest right in the middle of the room, or balls of light flying around. I don't know.
You've
Just
given
all
a
kinds of stuff.
bunch of what could be definitions of a ghost. Is there a
Or
definition
anything.
of a ghost to you, or what is a spirit or an entity?
Okay. The word ghost is actually probably, if I could use the term bigoted, it would be sort of a bigoted word to use. A ghost of something, the ghost of a chance. It's kind of like a put down. I believe the spirit is probably what we're dealing with. And if a spirit does exist, and you know, we're on the fence with this one, because even if I believe, I haven't actually proven it to myself to my own satisfaction. But if a spirit exists, then it is the remains of a once living person, and then something else. And the other things are like demons, perhaps angels, different kinds of things that might be out there.
Okay, let's talk about where we are today. Not this particular room, but the place. It's a
Burnaby Art Gallery.
Yeah, Burnaby Art Gallery. Tell us about the history of this building.
Well, this home was built by Mrs. Grace Dixon Ceperley. She started in 1909, and we don't know a lot about Mrs. Ceperley, her earlier days. We know that she came from Michigan, and that she married a man who was into real estate here in Vancouver, and he was from New York originally, from Altoona. So her history is lost to time as far as we can find out. Even I've been in contact with some of her family members, and they don't even know a lot about her. But she ended up in Vancouver somehow, and she was left a fairly large amount of money at the time from a family relative that I guess had passed on, and she built this home. This is what she wanted. I don't think she had anything in her life. I don't think she had a lot of money. I don't think that she had a lot of things that were her very own. It was Miss Ceperley's money, and this was her place. This was her summer home, and she basically pulled it out of the ground, because everything that you see comes from this area around here. The stone, the wood, the cedar. Local artists did the fireplace over here, which is beautiful. This tile was all shipped in from Scotland. I think that was like one of the few things that came from out of the city. But everything that you see here, it was just pulled out of the ground.
So Mrs. Ceperley obviously had a great fondness for this home.
She loved this home.
house.
She didn't live here long enough. She died only 9 years ago. I don't think the house was even completely finished.
Now we're getting to the nub of things,
Okay.
because Mrs. Ceperley is...
She didn't die here.
Her life was a mystery. What about after her life? Is she still here? Where is she? Have you seen her?
Well, at the gallery, I've seen on on one occasion, we were here, Reese is really good, and in the old days, we let us sort of sneak into the back areas of the gallery, and we would sit in the servant stairwell, which is actually runs up in behind here. And one day we were just sitting there, and one of our guys was saying, "Show yourself, Grace, show yourself, Grace." And it was quite irritating. And he said that he felt or could see these like wet spider webs coming down from the ceiling. And he went to touch one, and it flung him back against the wall. And about 2 or 3 seconds later, there's a huge blue-white flash within the stairwell, no heat. It's about 5 foot by 5 foot. It crackled, we heard a giggle, and it was gone. That was the very first time we heard something.
We just got chills.
Yeah, well, and Mrs. Ceperley has been seen not just by members of Vancouver
Oh, she's been
Paranormal,
seen by the staff here,
many
and many people, yeah. I don't know all the sightings of her, but I certainly know that a number of people have seen her.
Now, aside from Mrs. Ceperley, are there other spirits? Because I understand this house is very active as far as ghost hunting goes. What other spirits are in this house?
Well, we've been led to believe, and from some of the photographs that we've taken, there's a small child. I don't know where she fits in. I don't know if she's a grandchild of the Ceperleys or one of the families that followed.
Yeah.
To my, all the research I've done on this place, I have not been able to determine that somebody's actually died here. If somebody's died here, they're not telling me about it.
Right.
There's a small child. We know that monks have been seen by members of security groups that have been here in the house in the past.
And it was a monastery for...
It was a mission. I guess it was a sort of a temporary home for a couple of fellas, maybe about 5 or 6 months before they went out to mission to build the monastery out there. So people have heard them here, and they've heard singing, Gregorian chants. I remember one night this female security officer was in the little office area. She had to go for a cigarette break. She went out through the door and she basically walked into a kneeling monk. And she just went,
That was
this, and kind of tippy-toed around and said, excuse me, went outside. She still had the nerve to light a cigarette and sat on the stairs until the gallery staff came in the next day.
Amazing. If we wanted to look and investigate this place a little bit, how does one go about a ghost hunt?
Well, you have to be really, really careful. Now, if we were to be really, really serious, you've ever been a ponytail or under a cap, we have to make sure that we don't get anything blowing in front of our camera lens.
Okay.
You don't smoke on a ghost hunt. If it's outside in the cold weather, you're not, breathing out great big gobs of cold
So
air.
anything that could be mistaken on
As a
sound
ghost.
for an image.
You don't move very fast because fast and low lighting will create distortion. You have to understand that every little ball of light that you see on a night shot camera is not a ghost, it's dust. I
You
can't.
seem a little skeptical,
I
which might
was gonna
surprise some people, but maybe you can explain why you are a bit of a skeptic yourself.
Well, I want to believe in the spirits, but I'm not an idiot. So I don't want to fool myself. I think that you can try to find a balance here and be comfortable with the result. If we saw a big yellow polka dotted thing jump out of this room, we could maybe say, big yellow polka dotted things do actually exist. But you're not going to believe it because one of our guys tell you,
Are
right?
you running screaming from the building?
Yeah.
Screaming.
I'm going to stop smoking Vancouver weed.
Well,
Okay, so we're gonna go on a bit of a ghost hunt with you.
that's what I was telling you.
Protocol, aside from making sure that our hair's back and we're not smoking or anything, what else